Hello everyone, we are live with the Bootcamp, new class of Bootcamp, and today we are going to cover the Shopify. Sajja, you want to add something?
Yeah, just wanted to add that uh, in the last 2-3 years, Shopify has come up on a fast track. After Corona, their sales have jumped by 150%. So therefore, Amazon is a different business model. Shopify is a different business model. When Zeeshan starts going into it, we are going to discuss the business model of Shopify, and then we'll go from there. Zeeshan, go ahead.
Okay, so let me share my screen first. Okay, so today's target is to cover the Shopify headless e-commerce with Shopify. The objective of this task or this class is that we can use Shopify as a content server. We can create our products on Shopify, but we will be using our own website, our own project, our own client to access that data so that you can manage your client side the way you want to manage it, instead of Shopify dictate you how you should use it, or Shopify gives you the theme or everything. You can create your own interface, and then you can access the products and create a complete a shop experience by your own, instead of relying on the Shopify. So that's why what Shopify did is, previously you had to create your store on Shopify, then you add your product, and then you have to use the store provided by the Shopify. That's called storefront, so that they provide the interface, so that if you want to give client your URL, so it will be a Shopify screens uh, all over. Now what you can do is Shopify now can work as a headless CMS, so headless e-commerce, sorry. In that, we'll be creating product on Shopify, our order will be on Shopify, everything will be on Shopify. But to show that interface, to show the products and how user will connect, user will experience the user interface, will be built by ourselves. So that's what we need to we had to do this in this class. So there are multiple links over here. What I'm going to do is
Zishan, just before we go forward, I just want to add something
yes,
for the our students.
sure,
You have to understand, you can use the front end of Shopify as well.
yes,
But with the what is the issue? The issue is that everything will look the same, because you can of course change the templates, but it will look the same. If you want to, for bigger companies, you need a customizable solution which the customer does not know whether you are on Shopify or wherever you are. So
yes.
in that case, we use headless. For very small companies, it is better to just use Shopify front ends. But for medium and larger companies, that doesn't make sense. So
The
that for
company which want to
yeah,
create its own brand instead of using
uh,
the Shopify interface.
go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so these are the few articles explaining how headless CMS and Shopify work. What we are going to do is, first we need to understand how we can set up a Shopify store and add a product, and then we'll start using how we can access the products and how. So this is the example we have. I guess this is the one. Yes. So we'll focusing on this example, but before that, we need to go to the Shopify and log in. Okay, so I'm already logged in and I have already have a store because I was testing it. So you need to see what will happen if you try to sign up for the very first time. When you try to sign up for the very first time, it will ask you the email address and the password and the name of a store, whatever you want to set this name of your store. So in my case, as you can see, I named it Shan Store 2. It should be an unique in overall Shopify experience. So you need to give your name, and then it will send you an email for the verification, and then it will ask few screens. So instead of creating multiple account, I have kept these screenshots so that I can show you what you will see at the sign up. So if you are already selling, it will ask that if you are already selling or something or not, what is your current revenue and which industry you are working in. When you press this, it will ask the complete detail. So this way it can identify your origin and which country you are in and from where you will be delivering the product. Once you are done with this, you will see after creating the sign up, you will see this screen. This is the screen where you have all these information. And now I'm going to live store. So you can see that's my main interface. Here I can see homepage, orders, products, customers, analytics, online if you have online store. So it and the setting. So that's the main store. It's a Shopify admin interface. So as an company or as a shop, you want to add products in. So the first step is to add a product in your Shopify shop. So I'll go to the product interface. I already have a two products over there, but I'll add one more so that you guys can see. Add a product. And this is important because there are a few things that needs to be addressed here as well. So let's say I already have which one? Formal shoe and water bottle. So what I'll do is sport shoe and there'll be a I need an image. So I will pick two few image. So Shopify has a two option when you are creating the product in Shopify. One is you can add image from URL. So I'll try to paste, but sometimes it's causing problem and do not add. So it's worked like a charm. So we don't have to worry about. Otherwise, I have to download the image and then upload this image. Both works. Otherwise, I was facing problem in uploading the image. So I at the one time I downloaded the image. Then you need to set the price. So at this moment, I am setting a price. Let's say 500 and compare price. That means if you want to mention that the price originally it should be, or maybe you want to say that this price can be of 700 or 800, but you can buy it 500 cost. This will not be displayed to customer, but for as a shop owner, so you can see that if you have a cost of let's say 250, so that means you have 50% margin. So how the amount of product you will sell, Shopify will show you the margin or revenue or everything to you. Charge the tax. SKU, if you want to give it is unique ID. So let's say I'm giving it a SK101. Continue selling out of stock. So that means if your product is out of stock, even then you should keep selling it or not. So you can specify product quantity here. Let's say my quantity is 20 items. I have a 20 units of these sports shoes. So continue selling when out of stock means that even if customer tries to buy when your 20 items have already been sold, so it keeps selling it or not, otherwise it will show you out of stock. Shipping, if you want to mention if it's a physical product or not. So yes, we have this product is physical. You want to mention the weight. Let's say I'm saying 8.5 kg. region from where you will be selling. So Pakistan and variant. Now that's important part because when you try to sell something online or even in a physical store, a product has multiple variant in terms of size and in terms of color. So then you can specify those variants over there, and you have seen in online commerce applications, in any application you go to purchase something, so you have an option to change. If you want, it's a t-shirt, so you say it's a small, medium and large. If it's a shoe, so you can say it says a size 9, 10 or 11 or something. And if it's a color, so for this product I'm creating a variant. Let's say I'm saying size 9 comma 10 comma 11. If you want to add another variant, so you can add it, but let it will complex the pricing. So as you can see, I have added three variants, 9, 10 and 11. So it will show me the price of each variant and quantity available. So I said 20 quantity available for 9, 10 available for this, and let's say 10 for this also. And price will be, if it's size 10 to 510, if it's, then 520. So you can change the price based on variant as well. So if a product, if in general, it will not be a big difference in size of a shirt. If it's a small, medium, large, price will be the same. But there are few products where if there is a different size, then it will be a you say different price for each. So change the SKU unit number, and we are good to go for this. Let me save this. Once you save the product, this product will not be available directly. So if you fetch all the products from your store, you will not be able to see until you make it active. So if, at this moment, my store has a two product. If I'll call, you can see it's in a draft. So you have to update it. So let me update this. Let's see. Okay. So that's how you add the product in your store. And once you done with that, what you need to do is, so we have set up the store for to store creation of a store. We have added all the information, and then we have created a single product. At this moment, I have a three product at this moment. You can see inside inventory how many units are available for each. So for water bottle, I have created three variants with the color blue, red, and pink. So it's showing me this way. For sports shoes, there is a three variant. For formal shoes, there is no variant. So it's just displaying me the product, and there is no variant for it. So its price, the normal price will be its price. Okay. Now the important part is we have basically set up the Shopify shop and we have a product. Now what we need to do is we need to create our application, our Gatsby or React application, and then we need to access our products from the Gatsby application so that we can display the products, and then we can add the products into the cart and all those things. For that, you have a multiple links which will explain how you can do this. Let's say there is um, these are the examples which shows you how you can set up initially your application, but it's also mentioned over here. And at some location they provide it in detail, so you can uh, I'll show you that link in a moment. So what you need to do is create a Shopify account, which we have already did. Create a private app. Now that's where our developers work comes in. Create a private app in Shopify and go to the app, manage private app, then create an app, give it a name, and then enable Shopify Store API so that you can access it. So let's go to our shop and go to apps, manage private apps. These are the public apps which Shopify store has already. So if you want to use them, but at this moment we want to create an app so that our a client can access the Shopify servers with API. So manage private app. I already created this app for testing purpose. I was testing it, so let me create another one to show you. Create new private app. You can give it a name. My store to if you want to set up any emergency email. So if there is an error, what where that error should be sent. Admin API access. So if you want to access admin content, so if you want to create a product with API, if you want to create a customer with API, so that's the admin API, and you can use. At this moment we don't need any changes to the accessibility, but you can change read write access, and there are list of what you say accessibility analytics fulfill. You if you want to allow to editors, delete customers, discounts, whatever you want to do with. These are the APIs, admin API, so that you can create a discount with API instead of going to the Shopify store and doing it manually. You can do with the API. So that's these are the APIs available, but we don't want them at this moment. Webhook API level, so it's latest version of webhook. Whenever we call the webhook, so we need to use this version. Storefront API, so allow this, that's important. So we need to click on this, and we need, at this moment we have already have these access, but you can give it a you give it those check active or not. That's not a problem, because they are talking about the product tags. So if you create a tag for product or not, so if you keep it unchecked, it's no problem, because the main tag is already read product variant and collection. So that means your storefront API can read the products, its variants, and if you have a collection, different collections. So that means if you have a store which contains collection of t-shirts, collection of shoes, and then there are multiple items, the collection of jeans. So you can create a collection so that you can display jeans in a separate page, uh, shirts on a different page, so that user can go to. You have seen multiple shops where you select a category, t-shirt, and then you will see all the t-shirt, jeans, and you will see all the jeans. So that's what created inside the collection. Modify customer details or not. So read and modify checkout. So if you want to access the checkout, so user add items to the checkout in the cart, and then user click the checkout button. So if you want to enable the checkout, so with the API, storefront API, you need to click on this as well. So save it. Yes, create the app. Once you create the app, it will show you the API key and password for the admin URL, which is we are not using at this moment. And then it will show you the storefront access token. That's important for us, because this will be needed to access the store from our application. Like if we are using Gatsby, so we will need it in Gatsby. Okay, so now we have set up the private app. And this one more thing, your product needs to have access for this private app. So if you see here, sales channel and app. So whenever you create a product and you want this product to be available online, and you wanted to access your product with your as a headless CMS, so you are creating your web store. So you have for that you have created a private app. Now you need to enable this store as well. At this moment this store has been directly enabled, otherwise you have to click on it, so that if someone create an app using that store key, so this product should be available for them. Go to this leaf page, formal shoe. So you can see these stores become available directly for on those product. If I'll create a product now, then that product will not be part of this my store too, and then I have to do it manually. So you need to add your product in sales channel. That's called a sales channel. You need to activate your sales channel, and for that setting, sales channel. So you need to enable, you can add more sales channel. That means at this moment we are using online store, but we can add, let's say, Facebook Messenger, Google, Facebook, Amazon, which sales channel you want to use. So at this moment we have selected the online store, so we want to uh, sell this product as an online store, not with the Facebook Messenger or anything else. Once done with that, we'll go to our example, and here what we need to do is we need to install Gatsby source Shopify and Gatsby buy, these two packages. Gatsby source Shopify, again, it's the same as we did with the contentful Gatsby source, contentful Gatsby source Stripe, Gatsby source GraphQL. So that's the Gatsby source Shopify. Copy. Okay, now comes with the project. So again, that's the very basic structure of a project. I haven't added anything, just a basic structure, a hello world structure. From here, what I'll do is terminal, npm install save Gatsby source Shopify and Shopify buy. I'll explain Shopify buy later, once we reach to the point. So it's trying to install. Meanwhile, let's see what we need to do. Now we need to edit the Gatsby config.js file, and we need to add a Gatsby source Shopify over here. We'll need to provide options, the name of a shop, and access token, which we have just created as a on in our private app. Then we can call the GraphQL query and access it. So I'll show you once we are done with it. It's installed now. Okay, let's go to the Gatsby config. I'll copy this. Now here what we can do is add .env file, and we need shop name, and we need access token. So whatever name you can give your my shop name is Shan Store 2. So I need to use this name here, and the token, let's go back again, and I forgot to copy. So my store 2, which we have just created. Copy this access token, paste it over here. So here we need .env package. And inside this Gatsby config, require .env config. Now here I want to mention my name process.env shop name. token process.env.access token. So we have set up these two things, and instead of going further, let me run this uh, example, and we'll see we have GraphQL available, and we can explore that. Your token has this access denied. Invariant violation encountered error try to. There is no corresponding node with ID. Mhm. Let me try this older one. Process is the same. Just I'm trying to copy this app I was using before. Okay, so it's working now, and definitely there'll be nothing in UI because we haven't added anything. But what we can do is now localhost slash GraphQL. Now we can see the complete data which is coming from our Shopify. So all Shopify blog, all Shopify collection, all Shopify product options, variant, all Shopify shops. Shop, that means you can access all the information for the particular shop. And this, if you want to access a particular product, so you can use this Shopify query, GraphQL query. That's that's what you want to access when you run the build and you want to create the pages of your Gatsby with the products. For creating checkouts and the all other information, that's the separate part. We'll cover it maybe today or maybe in the next class. But that's what we, as we did for the contentful, we were accessing the content and then we'll displaying the product. We did with the Stripe as well and Snip card as well. So we just fetching the products from our Shopify and we want to display it in our application. So that's for that we have this all Shopify product, and these are few already been selected, but the handle what URL it should have. So we do not have to create the URL by ourselves. Shopify create handle for us. So you can see handle formal shoe. ID of a product, so it's something Shopify product, this is product ID. The image, you want to access the images of your products, so that's what you have. Shopify ID title. So if I remove these one, or so here you can see that's the basic. Whenever you want to add anything, So let's say now start adding handle and run this. So it will show you the handle of all three products. At this moment, we have three products. Now we need ID as well. So it will add ID. Then we need, let's say, title. So now we have a title. Then we want to add Shopify ID and variant. What variant is? Again, variant is something which is if your product has a different variations. So now you can see formal shoe, it has only single variant. If you do not have variant, then it will be a single variant. Water bottle, and you can see for water bottle you have price, SKU, title, price, SKU, title, three variants. For the sports shoe you have also three variants. And what you can do is you can add variant ID as well. So this is the product ID Z2. If you try to identify it, that's the Shopify ID, and that's the variant ID. So whenever you will try to add a product into your cart, you will be adding a variant ID, using a variant ID, so that it will Shopify will clearly identify which variant customer is buying. And then again the image which I moved for a while. So you have image URL. So that's what our basic structure of a product, and then we can access everything from here. Description as well, if you want to display the description. So it will have description. So that's the query we have, and then we can access this query. So let's go back to the example. Mhm. This one. So that's we have created this query by ourselves. If either you want to use this one directly, so you can use it. Now we need to call all these products in our page. First, we need to create a query, and then we will display these products. So let's go to the example. So now we have this creative. mm, okay, so what we need is we need to call the GraphQL so that we can create a query. So export const query, and call GraphQL, and so the GraphQL is imported from the Gatsby, and then we will paste our query here. Not from this, from our own. Copy this and then paste it over here. So we have complete information of a product. So we'll receive a list of product, and once you create the product this way, when Gatsby build your page, it gives data inside here. So we have this data, or we will have this data over here. What I'll do is let me just console it so we can see what data we are receiving, and then we can display a product based on that data. So data. um, Page is built. Okay, so now you can see we have this all Shopify product, edges, and inside that edges we have array. So that means all Shopify product and edges, we can skip that parts. All Shopify product dot ages. Yes. Now you can see we have array of 3 elements, and each element has a node which has a property key node, and inside that we have our product description, ID, image, title, variant. Now we can display this product in our page, which we have done quite many times in our e-commerce example. So let's do this again. Okay. So data dot all Shopify products dot edges dot map. So we'll be iterating over it. So you need to understand that when you receive an array, each array, each element has an object, and that object has a property name node, which again has a product, which is our actual product. So what we need to do is we need to fetch the object, and then from that project object we need to access the node. So that means we are receiving element called item, and that item has a property node. So we'll be accessing like this, dot node dot title, this way. So we can use the structure, and instead of using that, we'll directly call node over here. And this node now has these properties, so we can display them. Node dot title. Okay, one more thing. We need a single big div to handle, keep all of them here inside, and we also need to change curly bracket of map to this round bracket. Once you provide the round bracket, then you do not need to explicitly return, and you can use multiple lines. We have done this so many times, so it should not be confusing. Name, and then we have a description. Then we can single image, and then we can move on. Okay, so images is an array. So if you want to display multiple images, you need to iterate over it. Otherwise, at this moment, what I'm doing is node dot images dot images with the 0 index, and at 0 index we have a property original src, so it has a url of image. Okay, so we have this information now. Let's go. We have a data, but the image size is too big. 100 pixel. Okay. So now we can see these products over here. It will give us error id, no dot id, and we need to display price as well, and a button. Okay, so for price, what we need to do is price will be accessed inside the from variant. So we have, if there is no variant, then there will be a single element inside a variant. So we will call node dot variant. And at this moment, I'm not iterating. Otherwise, you will have a product page, and then you can show drop down any way we want. Variant, and then inside that variant we have a price, SQ, and title, everything. So I'll just variant zero dot price, and we will have this button, add to cart. We'll see how we're using the add to cart button. Okay, so now we have this page. We have product information, we have image, price, add to cart button. This add to cart button needs to be called, and then we need to add our product into the cart, which is managed by Shopify. We'll be not using our, now what we can do is we can create our own cart, but that will not be connected to the Shopify cart. So we need to add items into the Shopify cart. So for that, we need to, now we need to move from here to uh, the important element which we have used installed, sorry, Shopify buy. This Shopify buy is a library which helps you, which gives you the storefront API access as an API. There is an storefront GraphQL API with which you can add GraphQL, your product into the cart with GraphQL. So we'll go for that as a second stage. At the first stage, we'll use this GraphQL buy. It's in it, what you say is called an SDK. So if you want to use, if you're working with web application, you will be using the Shopify buy package. If you are using Android or iOS, so there is a separate SDKs available for Android and iOS as well. So we have called this, and this Shopify buy is a package, and it has complete SDK details available, which you can see here. Not this one. Okay, so you can install, as we have seen, we have installed it. This Shopify buy, you must need to understand that it's working with the Shopify storefront API. Shopify storefront API can be accessed in a two-way, with the SDK or with the GraphQL. So you have a two option with the graph. Either you use GraphQL or either use SDK. So at this moment I'm using SDK. Then we'll see how we can do the same things with the GraphQL as well. So yes. Now what we need to do is we need to import client from Shopify buy, and then we can create an object in which we need to specify our store and access token, and then we can call, as you can see here, this gives the simple API client.product.fetch all, so it will return all the products. Client. If you want to access a particular product, you want to fetch all product with variants and the collection, you want to create checkout, that's what's important for us. And we'll see add item into the cart. So we'll use this library, and then let me show this. Okay, so mhm. So what we need is we need to create const client.build. by build client, and it needs an object which requires two properties, domain and the domain is the one which if you are using your own domain, then you need to specify your domain. Otherwise, your domain name dot shopify.com. So that's the store front of your application. If you go to your application and setting, um, there is a location where you have all these store information, that what will be the URL of your store, but generally it's this. If I go to shanstore.shopify.com, it will open a store. At this moment, generally it does not allow you to open a store over here because it's a password protected, but I was testing it, so it asked me a password. So at this moment, that's why it's not asking the password. And you can see catalog. That's what Shopify has built for us, so we do not have to build. But then we need to see that you can see that this is the logo of Shopify. So you need, if you want to customize and don't want to display the brand of Shopify, then you have to do everything by yourself. So that's how you can see the product. If I go to this shoe 9, 10, 11, you can see the size and price will be updated. So that will work directly and you do not have to worry about anything else. That's the custom screen which Shopify provides us, and it's available over here. Theme. So there are so many things, so I just have to just uh, address one by one. So that's the page where you can customize your theme and everything, and this will display over here. So at this moment, we do not have to worry about, but we need this URL for our client access info so that we can access from our API. I'll paste it over here. So so that we can pick the shop name from here, and the rest of the part will be hard coded, which is not necessary. Okay. Same will do for access token. Dot env dot access token. So that's how we build the client. It's create the client variable, and everything will be available inside that client. And then whatever we want to do, we want to fetch product, we want to check out, we want to add product into the cart. All these things will be done based on this property named client. You can name it with the any. I'll call it ABC. So that's not a problem. Now what we need to do is we don't need to fetch the product. We have already done this. What we need to do is we need to create a checkout and add our product into the cart. So in case of Shopify, the sequence is, if you want to add product into the cart, you first need to create a checkout. So what creating checkout means, it create a session for you, and that checkout ID will be used to add multiple products. So this is important because there'll be a multiple customers using your application, your shop, so they'll be creating a checkout and they'll be adding product into the cart. So there'll be a specific checkout ID should be there, so that's why it's managed this way, and there is no surprise in it. Okay, so now in you have a two option. Once you are on the page, you can create checkout whenever you want. So you just need to call the client.checkout.create. It will return an object which is an ID, which is required for us. So whenever let's say let me create use effect. So it will be called only once. It will create a checkout session. And then I'll store it in const checkout session use state. So whenever this page loads for the very first time, it will call use effect, and use effect will call the using this example is using callback. I'll be using the async await. So yes, if I'm using async await, then I need to surround it inside. Mm, client dot checkout dot create. It will return us something, so we'll see what it is. Await cannot use keyword await outside of async function. It's not outside of async. Cannot resolve fs dot env library. Okay, let's see if okay, so the .NET env is giving some kind of error. Let me use the information directly, and then we'll see. It's .env is causing some sort of problem to load information, so I'll skip that. And ignore the .env for a while. So now you can see once the page refresh, it calls the use effect, and use effect tries to create the checkout. That checkout is a session, and you can see it has multiple information, and it's actually a graph model. So you have all this information. We have ID. So we need this ID to access, and whenever we want to add any item into the cart, we need this ID so that we can add ID item into the check cart. Line item, there is no line item at this moment. So if you see the name line item, the all the shopping cart experience, we have seen Stripe, we have seen Snipcart, use shopping cart, they all refer your product inside cart as line item generally. Yes.
Zeeshan, I'll suggest something. I think it has been a long class, and
Uh-huh.
the students are way behind us.
Okay.
We are going very fast. So what we do is we continue this
Okay.
thing in the next
Okay.
class.
Just a moment.
Mhm. And it has been a long week. You have been doing a lot of development, and you look exhausted also. So the students are exhausted. You are exhausted. So
Okay, so at this point, let me just revise it. What we have done, we have created the Shopify shop on the Shopify. I have shown you the all the information. Then we have added the product, and we have seen how we have added the product. Then we need to create the basic structure of an application, and then we use Gatsby, Shopify, source Shopify. That plugin helps us to fetch data from the Shopify, and when our application starts, we can go the GraphQL interface and we can see whatever product we want to fetch from the Shopify. Then we display those products based on whatever the content available to us, and then we need to use storefront API. The storefront API is available in two ways. Either you call it with the SDK or REST API. Sorry, for three: SDK, REST API, and the GraphQL. So either you call the SDK. Let's say if you are using the Android or iOS, then you will be using with that. If you are using GraphQL, that's separate. At this moment, we were learning the SDK. So we'll continue from this in our next class. Yes.
okay. And one more thing. Let me just summarize answer some of the questions that students are asking. Number one, they have asked, what is the price? Is it free service?
No,
Shopify is not a free service.
you cannot have a checkout process even if you do not have a accept the plan. So I have to add my credit card and accept the $29 plan so that I can test the checkout process. I'll show you in next class.
Number two, some people asking when are they going to turn in the projects? Are we done? We have a continuous process. There's no deadline. Everybody should try to do it as soon as possible, whatever their maximum speed. Uh, Whenever they watch these videos, after that they complete the 12 projects, they basically submit them to me, and we will go from there. When it will be hosted on a website, there will be forms, but right now it's not hosted on the website. They just submit it to me on my WhatsApp. So therefore, it is a continuous process. There's no deadline. Everybody works at their own pace and to become a world-class developer. And once you are done, then we work with you more closely. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye bye.